Hi, this is Kathy Turner. I'm here at the Grovian Doll Museum and Carmel Doll Shop in California to bring you another discussion about my favorite topic, China head dolls. And today I want to talk about a less known company that started out in 1891 called Weiss Kuner in Germany, in Grafenau. And they produced, among many other things, this flat top China head, rather a simple model. You could see that, she's fairly typical. She has production marks inside. She has a very slight pink tint to the outside, an extremely flat-topped hairstyle, which is a bit unusual, actually. And this would have been late in the 1800s when this was made, because the company, as I said, didn't start in business until 1891. I think this is probably early in their production, though. And then I happened upon another one in bisque, which I think is also one of theirs. Now, at the same time as they were making these, I found some catalog pages of some other objects that they were making. They were making a lot of bathing dolls, cupies, figurines, religious figures. They even made little figures for fish tanks. A lot of their products were for export. So I don't think they were a top-of-the-line company, but they were a fairly large company. They had several hundred employees. They were a going concern. And then, of course, World War II put the kibosh on a lot of their business plans, like a lot of the porcelain industry. And all their work had to be turned toward the German war effort. All of their molds were put into storage. And after the war, like all the German companies, they struggled until finally, in I think around 1990 or so, the building was closed up and was basically derelict. And then along came a fellow named Roland Schlegel, a German fellow, and he bought the company, and I think it was in the 1990s, after it had been closed down for a while. And he had the idea to turn it into kind of a working museum. Very good intentions, I think. He bought not only the property, but he bought the rights to produce their wares from their designs, from their molds. And he had a partner, an American partner named Susan Bickert, who in, I think, 1998, she opened up a branch office in Ohio. So they were making products from the Weiss Kuner molds, and they were marketing them throughout Europe and the United States and probably other parts of Europe. And this doll is one of theirs. And I thought it was very interesting to show a head-to-head comparison between the Weiss Kuner original and the German doll company, which is what they called their company, over here. Now, some of their wares, I hope most of their wares, but apparently not, they actually marked with this company insignia that they came up with. It's a little roly-poly clown.
Now, Kathy, when I look at them, I see one has very regular, exact paint, and one has a very
kind of slapdash?
Yeah, well, almost, they're not thinking about it.
Yes,
They're just
very skilled. If you
spontaneity is the word that I'm trying
What
to...
I notice is the eyebrows. Look at the arched eyebrows on this one that was made more modern make, and this one back here with the flatter eyebrows. Look at the coloring differences. This one has these rosy cheeks. This one has more of an orange color. The pigments have changed over time,
That's 140
exactly.
years ago.
This doll, though it's not immediately obvious, has a very slight pink tint applied over the white. You can see it on the back a little more clearly, and if you compare the inside, which is very white.
And I noticed that there's a scratch mark in that.
Yes,
now,
that
is there a
is-
scratch mark in the reproduction?
I don't believe there's a scratch mark. There's a little painter's tick mark, but that's it. And there's also a painter's tick mark inside this one. The scratch mark in this one would be from the modeler, most likely. Some of the other differences are this one is a bit thinner. The original one is very thin. This one here, it seems to have almost like a lip, and it's, you know, it's definitely more commercially, has a more commercially poured feel to it. I don't know how to explain it. The basic porcelain body has a much cooler, grayer, greener tint to it than this one as well. I don't know if you can see the color difference.
I see a little. I mean, it's hard with in the
I
camera, but I
know.
see a little brightness in the antique piece, where the reproduction is a little more dull.
Maybe grayer looking.
Grayer, yeah.
So there's these subtle differences between them, and if it wasn't marked, you know, it would give you pause.
But I don't know that pause for long.
It depends on how skilled one's eyes are in looking at these things. For you or I that have handled a lot of antique dolls, we might not pause for long, but somebody that hadn't been exposed to these things, I think could easily, if this wasn't marked, even if it was marked and they didn't know what the mark meant, they could think this was an antique.
Yes.
Now, then there's the difference between a reproduction and a reissue.
Yeah.
This company, the German doll company, they bought the company. They bought the rights to produce the original molds. So they actually had the rights to do that. They weren't just reproducing without the rights. So technically, they could be deemed reissues in a way. But they got into trouble because they weren't always, I think, marking their wares. Here, I'm going to show you another example. This is also a marked reissue from the German doll company. This is a...
And they marked it.
They did mark this one. This was a souvenir meal event doll from, you know, a convention event. Cute, charming.
Well worth the price of dinner.
Yes, exactly. Very charming. And hand in hand with that, now these are the ones I question. These are not marked with the roly-poly, the blue mark that you saw of the German doll company. And I can't easily take them off this board, but take my word for it that they don't have that mark. Yeah. All they have is the impressed model number on the back and Germany. So I speculate that these are also, I mean, they are slightly different.
Right, but Kathy, okay, we've got 5 dolls.
Yes.
If we took 5 dolls off of any 5 dolls in this building, 5 China head dolls, and lined them up, we're going to have some chipped fingers. We're going to have some chipped toes. We're going to have even a sample board piece.
Yeah. These are a little too perfect, aren't they?
Little too perfect.
Yeah, so I suspect that these are probably from the German doll company and they're not marked. So this caused them issues. By the way, there is, in looking up this company, it was hard to find information because they're not around anymore, they're not active anymore, but there is something called the Wayback Machine on the web, and you can use it to search for websites that are no longer out there. And so I was able to pull up, I'm going to show you, this is a compilation of things from their original website.
And it looks like they should have had a fantastic business.
Well, mind you, I said this is a compilation, so I actually cobbled together some of these pictures from various pages of their website to put it together. But basically that is their product, the type of products that they were making.
I mean, I look at this and I think, gee, if you were having a christening party, you could order the storks, or you're having a Kewpie luncheon. You could order some Kewpies. I mean,
And one can only hope that they're putting their German doll company mark
Yeah.
on these, though. Now, also from that website, the top picture here is a picture of when the German doll company was occupying the building and using it. The bottom picture was taken in around 2020 by a pair of young German fellows who were going around exploring derelict.
urban explorers.
Urban explorers,
It's
exactly.
a new thing.
It is. So that's what, almost 20 years of time. Doesn't look too different there. While they were in business, as the German call it, I think this is Roland Schlegel, most likely. It was not identified, but I believe that's who it is. And you can see some of the things that they were producing. A lot of Kewpies.
Yeah.
Evidently, a whole lot of Kewpies.
And lots of companies made Kewpies. So
Lots
they
of
would have-
companies did make Kewpies. In fact, they were making so many Kewpies, evidently, that there was this published warning in Germany about people making fake Kewpies.
Well, and I think one of the things about Kewpies were not part of the German culture. So they probably never had them. They were made for the United States of America.
Well, this company, Weiss Kuner, the original company, was making mostly for export.
Yeah. So suddenly when they appear,
It
you
was
would
suspicious.
Suspicious.
So here is some other photos that I cobbled together from that Wayback Machine of products that they were making at the German doll company at Weiss Kuner at the old factory.
So we've got some snow babies, it looks like, and some bathing dolls, and looks kind of like some of the things are for fish tanks.
Yes, exactly. And this picture here, the bottom picture is also from the Wayback Machine from their website, and it's the scariest picture to me, is these heads
The
here.
bonnet heads.
This one in particular, about 10 years ago, I happened to see a number of that particular model showing up for sale on eBay repeatedly, and I was suspicious.
Well, don't you think if you're go with your first hunch?
Yes, exactly. And I don't know what, because there's this, again, these are without context, grabbed off of the Wayback Machine, no subtitles. I don't know exactly what it means. I don't know if these are just examples of heads that, these are Hertwig models shown here. This not Weiss and Kuner products.
It could be part of their collection, their
It could
artifacts.
It could be either. It also could be that Weiss and Kuner was listed when it was, originally in production as also making bonnet heads.
Okay.
So I don't know.
And I think it's the German companies, they all snagged each other's.
They did. So that makes
models.
it a little hard. And then the top picture here is a picture from the urban explorer gentlemen who were showing some of the interior of the building, and this is just a few of the molds that are still, in 2020, we're still lying about in that building. And this is a picture of, again, from 2020.
And these are the urban
Urban
guys?
explorer photos.
That is quite a kiln.
Isn't that quite a kiln? That is obviously not a modern kiln. There were also photos of a more modern, smaller kiln.
Yeah,
this would have
that's
been the old
amazing.
one. And I just couldn't get over the photos of
That
the
is a lot
molds.
of molds.
Think about the weight of these molds. Now, some of these molds could have been from very utilitarian dishware because during the war years they were making much more utilitarian wares. But, they also, of course, made all the decorative items too.
That's fantastic.
And the weight of the molds was so great that sometimes it just collapsed things.
Well, I think the floor was probably wet and
Yeah, the roof
and the
was
roof
gone.
leaked, and then that's really sad.
It is sad. I really think that Roland and Susan probably had very good intentions going into this enterprise. I think that maybe it was just a little too lucrative to sell things that weren't marked sometimes, and they may still be floating around. I'm sure they are out there. So it's something to be aware of. Even if you buy them now, and it is actually one of their products, they are somewhat legitimate as reissues, though.
Well, I think it's the thing. The thing is, if you're going to take a chance on it, I call it going to Las Vegas. Make sure you have the price point to prove that if it's not legitimate, then you can just say it's a cute doll and I can donate it to my club and a charity or whatnot.
I mean, these are not dolls items that would be extremely expensive, even as, you know, a flat top china head, though it is a bit unusual. These are not terribly expensive dolls.
Yeah, they're a nice old doll for a good price.
Yes.
Now, I think that you should tell our World Doll Day audience about your group, that you're the administrator, because it really is a very educational site to learn about all kinds of china heads.
Well, thank
China
you, Michael.
dolls.
I appreciate that so much.
And it's really been, every morning when I have my coffee, I go to it and I look, and the information and the treasures that are, it's really one of the best groups on
thank you so
the
much.
internet. So explain for the members how to get there.
If you are on Facebook, you can look for the China Doll Forum. That's the name of the group, and you can ask to join, and you have to answer a basic question. First question is, are you a doll collector? And it doesn't matter whether you are or not. It's just a screening question to keep out the bots. And then you have to agree to the group rules, which are very basic rules of getting along on the internet, basically. And once you've done that, you're approved, you're in, and we have a section of albums that are divided up by different doll manufacturers and types, and you can go in and look, and it might help you to sort out what you own. We have sharing from members, and some of the members have some incredibly rare dolls, and then there's some people that have just some very interesting, even modern-made dolls. We're just all talking about different types of china dolls all the time.
Well, I think that the members are very collegiate, and they're very helpful, and I think if you want to learn about this subject matter and build a wonderful collection, that's the place to train your eyes.
And it doesn't matter whether you have you know, simple or common ones or rare ones, you know, we like to see them all.
Right. All right, thank you, Kathy. I learned a lot today, and I now know what to look out for in these wonderful dolls.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
We'll see more heads rolling soon.
Okay, bye-bye. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.